Okay.
Raquel, hello everyone. Thank you very much for joining. We are going to talk today about persistency and commissions. And my name is Keith Nabb, and I'm the owner of Affordable Medicare Solutions. And it's an honor to teach again at the Medicare Summit. And this is a subject that I hold near to my heart. It has changed my business practices over the years, and it has helped me to be a better business person, but also to change my business. A lot of you have known me for a long time. I've been in the business for 25 years, but I started as an individual health insurance broker back in 1995. As a matter of fact, I had the very first health insurance website in Georgia for quoting health insurance, affordablehealthplan.com. I thought I was always going to be a health insurance broker. And about 10 years ago, I saw the writing on the wall. After 2008, the election then, and 2010 with the Affordable Care Act. And this is why I changed my agency from being a health insurance agency to being a Medicare agency, is the issue of persistency. With individual health insurance, there was very low persistency and high churn. And this was really brought about a lot by the Affordable Care Act in 2013 through 2016, where all we were doing was moving people left and right just to new plans and never really enjoying building a larger business for a lot of us. Matter of fact, it's just the opposite. So we'll talk about a lot of that today. I was 80% health insurance and 20% Medicare back then. Today, I'm about 90% Medicare and about 7% health insurance. So this has been a major change, but it's related to persistency versus commissions. So I'm going to share my screen right now and we'll get started on this talk today. And the issue is the main factors that fluctuate your Medicare revenues. Now, of course, all insurance revenues will be tied to this. And the persistency, what it actually means is a persistency is the percentage of an insurance company or agency's already written policies remaining in force without lapsing or being replaced. Persistency is a critical factor in the viability and, of course, success of insurance companies and agencies. So the big issue here is that I've talked to agents and on this subject many times, and originally was on the first time I ever talked to someone about this was at a lunch where somebody just asked me questions, and we did it on some cocktail napkins, basically. But he said to me that he had 100% persistency, and I just chuckled because that's impossible. And but he was very confident and cocky and said that he had, he kept all of his clients, and of course that's not true. And I understood where he was coming from. But the things that affect persistency that I've found are these 8 things, especially, which is the first one is a very passionate thing for me, is annual reviews. Annual reviews tremendously affect persistency, as well as high customer service. If you have great customer service, you're definitely going to keep your clients longer, and they are going to tell others. If you do poor customer service, the opposite will happen. But here's something that affects persistency, that people spend their money until they're poor and they become qualified for Medicaid. And if you are a Medicare agent that only writes Medicare supplements, and all of a sudden your supplement's gone because somebody gets Medicaid and you don't represent Medicare Advantage special needs, dual eligible programs, well, then you are going to lose that client because you're not going to have the opportunity to write them again on a new Medicare Advantage program. So you're going to lose that client. But one of the next thing is one of the biggest issues. One of the biggest issues is you can't keep your clients from dying. So this gentleman told me he keeps 100% of his clients. I don't know, there's no way. You got a certain number of clients that die. And that's the problem with being in the Medicare business, is that we want to keep our clients as long as possible, yet they still die. The next thing that happens is that clients move. When clients move, their son or daughter moves mom from Decatur over to Athens, and the son or daughter doesn't know you. and they start changing their plans and don't know to call you, and you don't know where the client went. Maybe their cell phone's been turned off. Maybe they've had a stroke. You don't know what's going on, and you've lost that client, even though they're still alive, but they've moved away. The next one is if your clients on Medicare supplements, especially, get a 15% rate increase on their Medicare supplement, well, you better be calling them, because either the client's going to be shopping that rate, or the client's mad at you and doesn't understand what's going on, or the client might be deciding to go somewhere, do something else like a Medicare Advantage program. So you better be talking to your clients when they get rate increases, and you need to watch your book of business. We have one Medicare supplement carrier that's been giving some very big rate increases lately, a major carrier. Here's the next thing, though, is outside solicitation. If you've seen Joe Namath on TV, Joe Namath wants to steal your clients. That's what he wants to do, as well as every other carrier's infomercial, radio ad, TV ad, Walmart representative, blah, blah, blah. They all want to steal your clients. Other agents want to steal your clients. I want to steal your clients. So you better keep your hands wrapped around your clients, because they are going to be solicited every year heavily. They tell you this, that they get stacks of mail and they get all sorts of things. They'll probably get text messages to their phone now, and robocalls, of course. But here's another one. Agent of record changes. Some of the insurance carriers still allow agent of record changes, and that's fine. If someone is an orphaned client, they've been abandoned by a set it and forget it Medicare salesperson, and they come into my office and I'm writing the wife, and the husband doesn't know who their representative was on his policy, I'm going to ask for that agent of record change, because I want to serve them and I want to give them high customer service. I want to take care of them and I want them to remember me. I don't want them to be orphaned. So agent of record changes can be an honorable thing. A lot of times there's just agents out there just looking just to grab people up and not provide service. But if you are going to provide high service, that's all right. You're going to lose clients. People are going to go to a higher service situation or a more knowledgeable situation. So all of these things affect your persistency. So let's see what that means over time. Persistency loss. The larger your agency, the more difficult it is to tread water. Now, I use that term, tread water, to mean that you're staying level. Are you growing or are you drowning or sinking? So it is really a problem. The larger your agency, the more successful it is, the more policies you'll have to replace due to persistency loss. So if you have 500 clients and you lose 20%, that's 100. If you have 5,000 clients, which is approximately what we have at my agency, and you lose 10%, that's 500. You have to sell 500 new policies in order to maintain your status and not shrink down. And there's other things we'll talk about that also affect that long term. But just remember, if you're not outwriting your losses, you're shrinking or dying. So let's look at the examples of how this works. A decent or a regular agency that's doing what it can gets about 80% persistency. 80% persistency is okay. I was teaching at a Medicare convention in Atlanta. It was about 2 years ago, I believe. And the Go Medigap people that were purchased by eHealth Medicare, eHealth Insurance's Medicare division, were bragging that they had 69% persistency. And I laughed at that because they were dying. There's no way they could be growing at the pace that they were writing policies. So let's look at 80% persistency, what this means. If you are an average agent, and you're an average agent writing 3 policies per week, and that would be 150 policies per year, approximately. And over 10 years, that would be 1,500 policies that you would write. So in the first year, you've written 150 policies, great. And the second year, you write another 150, but you lose 30 policies that first year, that 20% loss. So at the end of 2 years, you've got 270 policies on the books. At the end of year 3, you have 366 policies on the books. And if you go all the way down to year 10, you'll see this. Even though you've written 1,500 policies, you only have 669 on the books. Maybe that's about 40%, I believe. If you have 85% persistency, writing the same 150 policies a year, you'll see that at the year 10, you have 803 policies on the books. So it's really important that you notice every year you're shrinking down and you've got to outright those losses, but you still are only at 803 policies. At 90% persistency, which is terrific, a very well-run agency is at 90% persistency. I was at about 85% persistency over the last few years. I bet I was only 80% 10 years ago. But now that I've been putting in much better processes and people and tracking, we've been tracking at 91% persistency over these last couple of years. And that's a very well-run agency. So look at the numbers. At 150 policies a year, 1,500 over 10 years, you would have 977 policies on the books. Let's compare the numbers. What this means, and was it worth the time and energy to invest in the hard work it takes to get high persistency? If you look at this and looking at a standard style Medicare Advantage revenue, and you said, all right, under 80% persistency, I have 669 policies. That is approximately $152,000 of revenue, depending on the policies, the contracts, and all that. But just take an average, it's about $150,000. At 85% persistency, that is $183,000. And at 90% persistency, that's $222,000 of revenue. That is 50% increase in revenue over 80%. Go from 150 to 220. That's a 50% increase in revenue. It was worth it to increase the quality of your agency, to increase the persistence of your clients, and to be a better business person. Look what you've done. I have so many people that have said to me, I don't have the money to invest in administrative help. Well, the problem is they're shooting themselves in the foot. If they would have invested in administrative help, they would have had higher revenues. So it's backwards thinking. So what else affects commission? When we're talking about persistency, there's other factors that affect commission, because you might actually keep a client, but for an example, under Medicare supplements here in Georgia, this doesn't happen in every state, but in Georgia, you'll write a Medicare supplement, and in year 7, the commission drops to next to nothing. Even though these carriers will tell you, oh, we pay lifetime commissions, it's not the same as having a current Medicare Advantage client, for example, where you get more of a level lifetime. So you might keep somebody, but maybe you need to rewrite them under a new lower cost plan G instead of plan F and get new first year commissions. There's nothing wrong with that. If it's in the client's best interest, do it. That's your job, is not to represent the insurance company, it's to represent the client. So go and triage and study which ones of your Medicare supplements are hitting that 7-year time period and rewrite them. On health insurance, some of us write health insurance because we do trailing spouses. You have a younger spouse or a child or something, and you write those policies. Well, I'm making 90% less revenue today under my health insurance per capita, per policy, than I was 10 years ago, because they just cut our commissions like crazy. And under health, we have about 4 carriers remaining. We're adding a couple more next year, but only one of those really pays us in a decent fashion under the health insurance. So you need to watch, if you do have health insurance on the books, you need to make sure that you're getting your clients to the right carriers and also making the right money, and make sure that you're taking care of both you and the client in that case. And then if you're writing outside of the health insurance open enrollment period, most of the carriers don't pay you. So you're not making any money at all. So we started charging fees for doing health insurance outside of the open enrollment period. We got counselors' licenses, and we charge fees because we have to be able to grow our business. Let's go back to Medicare under guaranteed issue. You need to pay attention, close attention, because most carriers will not pay you. Only one wonderful one that I know of pays you under guaranteed issue. And this is important. It's unfair for us to not get paid under guaranteed issue. I had a client that went and tried a Medicare Advantage program, was with a Medigap, and went back to the Medigap, and they cut off my commissions. That's totally unfair. So watch the carriers that treat you fairly under guaranteed issue, and do not reward those carriers that treat you unfairly under guaranteed issue, where you don't get commissions. A lot of life insurance only pays a first-year commission. That's okay if you understand that, but it's not going to pay the long lifetime payouts. But the big one is the last one, is that annual enrollment period solicitation. If you're not paying attention to your current clients at the same time you're trying to write new clients, you're crazy, because you're going to write a bunch of new clients and lose a bunch of old clients. So you have to triage, and where you're going to get your referrals is taking care of your old clients. So a lot of times just taking care of your old clients is better than chasing new clients. So how do you stop this persistency and commission loss? I just said it. If you can rewrite your current clients, that's the best business you can do, because every single time you touch your clients, you're going to make them happy, and you're going to get more referrals, and your block of business is going to be more solid. So in other words, don't always chase new leads. Write your clients' friends instead. That's important, because the most persistent business is writing referral-based business. So I'm going to give you a book name called Beyond Referrals. The author is Bill Cates, Beyond Referrals, and this book is wonderful. Why would you go talk to 4,000 direct mail leads instead of getting 400 referred leads? You're going to make more money on the referrals. It's better business. Instead of chasing trash leads, you chase hot, good good leads. And you don't have to pay for them. That's even better on top of that. But in order to be a good business person, well, the first thing you should do is read a book called The E-Myth. It's actually called The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. This book changed my life because it taught me that I needed to put in place processes. I needed to put in place rules and things to do so that I could follow a business plan and not be going crazy all the time chasing my tail, but have a good business plan. And part of a good business plan is auditing your commissions, is validating your client list from the book of business to the commission report, and making sure that they match, making sure that your database, your CRM, your Salesforce, or whatever system you're using matches the book of business and the commission report. You'd be amazed at the shrinkage, the losses that happen. Under health insurance, we saw it all the time. The Affordable Care Act marketplace helpers would go in and touch a client's account, and all of a sudden, magically, we weren't listed as the agent. Or we would use one of these enrollment platforms. I won't mention their names right now, but you know the two major ones. We would use the enrollment platforms, and all of a sudden, we wouldn't get commissions. And the owner of those enrollment platforms were getting huge amount of house accounts, making millions of dollars on our backs, because agents weren't auditing their commissions and finding out that they were losing clients either currently or on the next year's renewal. All of a sudden they're not there and people weren't asking questions. So you better audit your commissions because there's a lot of nefarious forces out there getting those commissions. The next book that I want to tell you about is a book called Acres of Diamonds. And this one really influenced my life because it is a simple parable about not worrying about writing business all over the state of Georgia or all over the United States or all over the South. There's more business in your own backyard than what you can handle. There's going to be 200,000 seniors in Gwinnett County soon. I can't even write 5% of those. If I could get to 10,000 clients, I would be so happy. 10,000 clients would be 5% of 200,000. There's enough business in your own backyard that you can go get by referral and by being very good at this next topic. This next topic is called Center of Influence Marketing. And the book, Acres of Diamonds, talks about this parable. The parable is a son grew up and the father gave him his gift to go out and seek his fortune in the world, gave him some money so he could go figure out the world for himself. He went, traveled around the world, spent all the money and didn't make a dime, came home broke. So his father said, well, I don't have any more money to give you, but we have a big farm here. So here's 5 acres on the backside of the farm. Go build yourself a cabin and go dig yourself a garden and survive. That's my final gift to you. So the son does this. He goes out and cuts down the trees, builds his cabin. And as he's digging up the forest to build a garden, as he's plowing the fields, he starts to plow up acres and acres of diamonds. They were there in his own backyard, in his own farm the whole time. And he didn't need to go around the world looking for his fortune. That's the parable. And I recommend that you read the book. It's been reinterpreted several times, so there are different versions that are narrated. But it is wonderful to say, quit chasing things outside of your area where you can have more influence inside your own area. Center of Influence Marketing, COI, Center of Influence. Those are people or organizations that can boost your market access and credibility through direct referrals, personal testimonials, and word of mouth. Somebody might just say, hey, I know a Medicare guy. Call Keith. He's the Medicare guy. I heard Keith speak, or Keith's a great guy. Those personal referrals are the best, but you want to find a center of influence. A center of influence. Who are centers of influence? Well, there's traditional centers of influence. Traditional centers of influence are maybe accountants, CPAs that deal with families and small businesses, or financial planners. Of course, those people are going to know people who are going through transition. They are leaving jobs, or they're retiring, or they're having something else. Maybe they become disabled. They know what's going on because they're touching people's private lives. Also, wealth management firms or boutiques. I deal with a lot of those. Elder law attorneys or estate planning attorneys. Those are 2 different categories. Elder law attorneys do one thing and estate planning attorneys do something else, but they touch clients' private lives and they can include you in the conversation. Senior living communities, they're like mushrooms. They're coming up everywhere. Every time I turn around, there's another senior living community sprouting up. And those directors and workers, staff members at those communities, love to be a resource, and they love to find somebody that they can trust. There's no way I could help every senior living community in Georgia. There are too many to know. I deal with probably close to 300 different ones. Now here's some non-traditional sources of centers of influence. Nurses. Nurses tell me that they get asked about Medicare, and they're like, I'm a nurse, I don't know anything about Medicare. Hospitals, the ER department, welcome people have told me that they get people, that families will come in and say, Mom's got Medicare, and I don't know what's going on. If you are in rural Georgia and you've got a local hospital near you, go make friends with these people. And some of them are social workers. Social workers generally don't trust Medicare people, Medicare insurance agents. They have a negative opinion. So if you don't have behaviors that are social work-like behaviors, helping people and taking care of people's problems and not just enrolling people, being a greedy insurance enroller salesperson, but instead being a helper and a social work minded person that volunteers and helps out seniors, they're not going to trust you. And the same goes for volunteers. People that are socially conscious that do volunteer work generally don't trust insurance salespeople. You have to show them different behaviors. You have to be genuine about this. And that leads to the next one, which is churches. Churches certainly don't trust insurance salespeople very often. I've learned this as a fact because I've spent 10 years developing relationships with senior ministries, senior ministers, senior clubs at churches, senior breakfasts and senior lunch groups. When you have genuine positive behavior that is consistent and they follow you and they understand that you are a true, genuine person, you will be able to make bonds with those groups and you'll get continuous referrals from them. Not just about people turning 65, but about people that are in transition where you can write them during special events. So these are centers of influence that can remember you and refer their flock to you, their client list to you, their people that they are interacting with, they will refer them to you. Going to watch our time. Now, thank you very much for listening. I'm going to leave it open for some questions and answers here at the end. And remember that my agency does mentor a lot of other agencies, and we deal with succession planning. Succession planning is that if you ever got sick and have to get rid of your agency, or if you die and your family has to disperse of your agency, there is a business will that you need to have. But if you don't have good commission auditing, good client database management, then you're not going to have a very good price put on your agency because you won't be able to prove how well it's run and how well your clients persist, which is tracks directly to the value of your agency. So Raquel is my assistant and she's been monitoring the chat box. Do we have any questions today, Raquel?
We have one question. It's if you can disclose the carrier that pays for GI policies.
No, I'm not supposed to talk about any carriers today on that. Raquel, do you have your email address in the chat box?
I will put it in the chat box.
Okay, they could send us private messages, but I am going to be very polite today if I can be. Do we have any other questions about business succession planning or how to increase persistency? We have about 1 minute left. Raquel, I'm going to talk a little bit more about succession planning. This is a very important topic because Medicare contracts are completely different than health contracts, group health contracts, life insurance, property casualty. Medicare contracts are difficult to transfer to other entities, and every carrier has different rules. I have an entire class that I teach and services that I offer to help people to understand this, especially if you're in multiple states. But if you're in Georgia, you can create a business will that if something happens to you, your block of business won't be taken as house accounts by all of your insurance carriers. There's ways to have those carriers allow you to transfer the blocks of business to a purchaser. But if you do it incorrectly, you'll either lose all or some of your block of business through innocent mistakes. So at our website, amsplans.com/succession-planning, it's on the screen, you can actually look at some of the case studies and you can see some of the things that I've found regular agents doing innocently that was going to cost them to lose their agency or be out of compliance and potentially face HIPAA and Privacy Act fines. So thank you very much, everyone, today for joining us. We're at our limit of time right now. If you have any other questions or comments, my speaker profile is listed in the Pathable Summit login. You can go click on there. You can see our phone numbers and my email address, or you can email Raquel in the chat box, and she will get those questions to me and we get those answered. Thank you very much. I hope you learned at least one new thing today. Have a great day.